The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The Chazon Ish, when he was a young man, he didn't want anyone to know who he was. So he would sit and study by himself. Nobody would do anything, just quietly by himself. Only later did people figure out who he was, and then he became the Gadol Ador. So he was considered by the people of the city to be this introvert that nobody knew. He sticks to himself, he does nothing. They didn't know who he was. Anyway, there's one person in town who knew who the Chazon Ish was. Who was that? It was the Nezer Kodesh. He lived in the city of Canaan together with the Chazon Ish. He was the great rabbi, the chief rabbi of the whole city. Everyone looked up to him. Everyone respected him. When this young man came to the city, what did he do? He went right in the beginning and he started having a conversation with the Nezer Kodesh. And all of a sudden, Nezer Kodesh realizes this young, newly married guy is an absolute bona fide genius, Talmid Chacham like he's never met. And he says to him on the spot, this grand chief rabbi says, will you study Torah with me every day? Will you be my study partner? The Chazon Ish says, okay, on one condition, no one can know what we're doing. Magnificent. So what happens every day? The Chazon Ish walks through the streets, he goes to the rabbi, knocks on his door, goes in, everybody sees, the guy is going in, he sits with the rabbi, every day he sits with the rabbi for hours, and they're thinking to themselves, look, the rabbi's patience must be unbelievable. He's dealing with this introverted weirdo all the time, he must have all sorts of problems the rabbi's tending to. And so the charade continued, year on year. One day, the Chazon Ish walks in, and he says, I need to ask you a favor. He says to the Nezer Kodesh. And Nezer Kodesh says, of course, whatever you want. I love our learning together. You're such someone who's so special to me. He says, we need to go visit Yankel the blacksmith. Now the chief rabbi of a city doesn't go around randomly to people's houses. It's not the kavod. If people want to speak to him, they come to him. So he says, look, it's very important to maintain this structure, the kavod of the position, so that I don't randomly go visit people. The Chazon Ish says, let me tell you the story, and then you'll tell me if you want to go. What's the story? He says, I happened to be by the blacksmith, and I saw that the wife of the blacksmith, she was treating her husband with zero respect. She was calling him a nobody, telling him he was wasting his life, telling him all these things about how he was a good for nothing, that everybody in the city steps on him, etc., etc. And he says, and I saw that Yankel, the blacksmith, he's so embarrassed. And I could just see he was putting his head down. He didn't even have the uwe to argue with his wife. He's just taking this abuse from his wife. So the rabbi says, so what's your plan? He says, so my plan is, together with you, we'll go down together to this guy's house. Nobody knows who I am. But if the chief rabbi goes and pays a visit to go listen to Yankel the blacksmith and talk to him and ask him how he's doing and see how the business is going and etc., then his wife will look at him and his wife will look at him with a newfound respect. And I thought that it was worth telling the rabbi this because Shalom Bayit is so important to God. Shalom in the family and the home is so important. He'll even erase his name. So clearly, it's something that even your name and your position, your honor it's within the confines of what you should do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The rabbi puts on his fancy clothes, his hat, his this. Together they walk down. And all of a sudden the wife is looking. She's looking out the window. They see they're walking. They turn into the house. The G's wife, his mouth is hanging open. Her eyes are bugging out. She walks to the door. The chief rabbi knocks on the door. She says, yes, of course. Welcome. What are you here for? And they say, we're here to be with you, to visit with your husband, such a wonderful member of the community. You know, she's thinking to herself, the chief rabbi doesn't go visit anybody. Must be that I underestimated my husband. Must be that he's actually a much bigger and better person than I thought that he was. So, instantaneously, just with that little visit, that knock on the door, they changed the reality in the home. And I was thinking, my friends, that you don't have to be the chief rabbi of anywhere to be able to do this with people. To compliment people to their spouses. What a beautiful mitzvah. To go to a parent and say, wow, do you know what your son is doing, what your daughter's doing? You know how good they are at their job? I saw them the other day with their kids in the park, how the kids respect them. You must have raised them so well. You don't understand the power of giving or paying a compliment to somebody about people that they are close with. It can change the entire dynamic and save their world.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org